So here I am in Hurricane, or I did find out they say it, Hurricane, Utah. And the question is, how did I end up here? Funny you should ask. The plan was to slowly make my way from northern Idaho after my camp posting position to Pahrump, Nevada by October 1st. Reason for that was last year I went ahead and paid for a month stay at Nevada Treasure RZ, Nevada Treasure RV Resort in Pahrump. So that was prepaid, so I had to be there to take advantage of that October 1st. I left North Idaho on the 12th, so that left quite a bit of time. I had looked at various routes on Google Maps, and they all kind of went through either straight down through Idaho, Washington State, Oregon, parts of California, kind of that meandering down that way. And at the last minute, I decided when I got in the car and I got ready to leave, I would put my Pahrump address in the Garmin in the truck. And to my surprise, it said, go to I-90 and go east. And I double checked it, and it was going to get me to, eventually going to get me to Pahrump, but the route was very different from anything I had considered. So what happened was I went pretty far east through Montana, and then it had me head south on Interstate 15. And actually from it intersects I-90, and 15 goes to Las Vegas. There were basically no turns. But it did, as I went through Montana heading south, I hit Idaho again. If you think about the way Idaho shaped, the southeast part of Idaho extends pretty far to the east. So I went from Idaho to Montana and back into Idaho again. And as I went through Idaho, I stopped at a very small town and a very inexpensive RV resort, or not even a resort, an RV park. And when I did that, I got a message from my friend Deborah Dickinson, who's been doing this for years, and she said, hey, I think you're pretty close to Indian Rock State Park in Idaho, which incidentally is no longer a state park in Idaho. They gave it back to the federal government, so it's now BLM land, and you can camp there for free. Their campsites are still there. It's beautiful kind of desert environment, and you might enjoy it. So by the time I considered this, I looked it up, and I was 23 miles from it, and it was on my way. It was off I-15. So I went there for a few days, and if you look back at a couple of previous videos, you see how beautiful the place was, and I was practically alone the whole time. The other interesting thing that I noted around this time as I started looking at the road ahead on I-15 is that it was going to pass through Hurricane, Utah. And you might say, so what? Is it Zion? Are you excited about Zion? I am, but that's not the thing that really got me excited. I would say, at the risk of insulting the other YouTubers that I follow, pretty much my favorite one is Matt's Off-Road Recovery. And it's a tow company, and they go out and they basically rescue people in kind of wilderness areas. And the collection of people they're just remarkable. They're so joyful and kind, and clearly none of them are actors, so it's pretty genuine, and I get lost in their videos. And it's Winder Towing is the name of the company, and Matt owns Winder Towing, and so the channel's called Matt's Off-Road Recovery. And the last I looked, he had 1.2 million subscribers to his channel. Now think about that. Those are 1.2 million people that subscribe to his channel, and you don't have to subscribe to his channel to watch the videos. So you can imagine some of the videos get 1 million views. So essentially, this guy Matt, and his family and his employees have become the equivalent of TV stars. And I knew that you could stop by his place and buy his swag. You know, he sells hats and t-shirts and stuff. And I certainly didn't expect to meet them, because if they met every visitor that came by, I'm sure they wouldn't get any work done. And I verified this when I'll tell you the story of going there. That was today. The woman that I talked to, very nice woman named Maddie, by coincidence, she runs the office there, and she sold me a couple of hats. I asked, well, how many of us crazy fans come? And she said, about 50 a day. That's amazing. 50 people a day come to this guy's tow yard. Well, she was kind enough to take me into the shop to see some of the vehicles that have become famous on the channel. The crew wasn't there. She said they're not there. They're off on a recovery. But I won't go into detail about what the vehicles are, but I was like a 12-year-old kid in a candy store. I was so excited. If you if you're on my Facebook, we're Facebook friends, you can see the post and the pictures she took of me next to these vehicles, and that was pretty exciting. Well, the added bonus to this is I'd never been to Zion, and I have time, and I found this wonderful RV park with, actually in the back is you can't see it very well because the sun's setting, but it's close enough so you can see some of the mountains of Zion National Park. It's a 30-minute drive from here. So I'll get to see Zion. I think that I'll probably go at least a couple of days. Some people suggest if you want to see everything that's really great in the park, you might consider 3 or 4 days. So I started here with a 2-night stay, and then I added a week onto that, so I'm going to be here for 9 days. The price was right. For the week, it was only $250. So considering that I haven't paid a dime to stay anywhere all summer, and I'm after Pahrump, when I go down to Quartzsite, I'm going to be in the desert all summer. It'll be $180 for the whole season. I'm well justified in spending a little money at an RV park. I did originally plan to boondock here. There's lots of federal land around, and it was my full intention to find a site that doesn't cost anything, and then I realized how damn hot it still is here. You know, getting up to 90, 95 during the day, and I value my comfort. I don't think I want to be boondocking at 95 degrees with no air conditioning. So anyway, so today, that's what I did. I went and I really wanted to give something back to Matt and his team, because I would guess I've probably watched over the last year 200 hours of their videos and been entertained for free by them. So I was thinking it would be nice to get them a gift certificate so everybody on the crew could get something to eat. And I asked Maddie in the office, you know, what's their favorite place to eat, and she really wasn't completely sure. You know, she mentioned a gas station they go to that and I know what she meant by that. In a lot of their videos on the way to a recovery, they'll stop at this, I think it's Maverick or Marathon, I've forgotten, but they're big gas stations. And I said, well, one, that's not quite what I had in mind, and I'm wondering if they even really sell gift certificates. And then I remembered when I went on an errand yesterday to buy a new TV, next to the Best Buy was an In-N-Out Burger, which I have not seen in the flesh since I left California in 1987. In-N-Out Burger, if you're not familiar with it, is a California burger chain that I thought they were exclusively California, but evidently there's at least one in Utah. So anyway, to me, they were the best fast food hamburgers anywhere, including my friend Regina in Texas, including Whataburger. Whataburger's great, but In-N-Out Burger is got them beat. Anyway, I do have a video on that too. The most recent video was a 1 or 2 minute video on my trip there. So I went there, and as I went there, I realized what a great gift to them. They may not be familiar with In-N-Out Burger. It wasn't in Hurricane. It was 11 miles away, so they may not be familiar with it. So I bought them a gift certificate with enough money on them, so literally everyone in that company, I think, could, under that gift certificate, could have a nice lunch or dinner at In-N-Out Burger. So I hope they enjoy that. And I spent the rest of the day here kind of tweaking some things that haven't been working really well on the trailer, just some routine maintenance to catch up on. And it's fall. It was fall like 25 minutes ago. It's 7:29 Mountain Time, and I believe fall officially started at 7:05 Mountain Time, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, as I said that, I noticed, boy, it's not hot anymore. It feels really good right now, but I'm sure that's because the sun is set. So what are my plans? I'm going to be hanging around here, going to Zion, seeing what other sites are available, or sites there are to see in this immediate area. And I am going, I'm out of here a week from today. And so that leaves Thursday and Friday to be somewhere other than Pahrump, because I can't check into Pahrump until Saturday. So what I decided to do is I found a really nice RV resort in Las Vegas, Las Vegas Oasis RV Resort, I think it's called. And so I booked 2 nights there, Thursday and Friday night, and I'll get to see my old friend Jeannie, who, God, I've known Jeannie since I was at working for Neiman Marcus in the early 90s. So that's what, 22 years about? That's a long time. It kind of freaks me out thinking about how long things were. I have no idea how the hell I got to be 62 so damn quickly, especially today when I really did feel, when I was at the tow yard for Matt's Recovery and saw the familiar vehicles, and I really felt the excitement of a 12-year-old kid. It felt pretty good. And it's just amazing how fast, how quickly time has gone. You know, I would hear older people talk about that, and I believe them, but believing them and hearing about it and experiencing it myself, it's a remarkable thing. There are things about growing old that aren't fun. That is for certain. Matt heard that too. I have arthritis in this hand, and it's a giant pain in the neck. And the only treatment there seems to be is taking over-the-counter pain medications for it and trying to keep it moving. But I've got arthritis, got a little bit of high blood pressure. Not that bad because it's being treated with sort of the front line, the medication that is that you try first before you go into more heavy duty medications. Is just kind of a mild diuretic, and that seems to be working for me. Got old man teeth problems, but I'm gonna don't have dental insurance anymore since I left and retired, and I'm not 65 yet, so I don't have Medicare. So I'm going to Algodones, Mexico this fall. They have to pay cash to some Mexican dentists to do a little bit of work on my teeth. And that's certainly a rite of passage for nomads. So it's October. I started this journey December 1st, so it's coming up on a year that I've retired and became a nomad. And I spent a lot of time anticipating what it was going to be like. I had a Excel spreadsheet with a detailed budget on it. Every day I would bring that up and tweak it. And I got a lot of joy out of anticipating what this life was going to be like. And the information that I had to predict that I was going to like it wasn't insignificant. One is I lived in a trailer for the last 3 years of working full time, and to make sure that I was going to be comfortable in living in a trailer. And as it turns out, I was more comfortable living in the trailer than I was in a $2,500 a month luxury apartment, which I'm sure is twice that much by now. And so the other thing was that I, on a couple of vacations, at least one vacation, I went out to Quartzsite, Arizona with my trailer and experienced at least about 10 days of this kind of nomad living in the desert, and I loved that. And of course, hundreds of hours of YouTube videos watching people that are mostly people that are making a significant portion of their living doing YouTube videos. So they're nomads, they live in RVs, and I wouldn't say they all show just the positive aspects, but no one would watch if they just talked negatively about it all the time. They just wouldn't get the views. So that there is the body of evidence that I had, and I was convinced that I was going to love the lifestyle. And so we're 10 months in, and the verdict is I love it more than I anticipated. I love it more than I thought I was going to love it. It is beyond my hopes. I kept this thing that Bob Wells, if you don't know who he is, Google Nomad Bob Wells, and there'll be a wealth of information. He says, and I'm paraphrasing, that there are two ways to attain great wealth. One is the accumulation of money, and the other is to reduce your needs substantially. And trust me, unless you're super lucky, it is way easier to reduce your needs than to collect money. I've been collecting money and losing money my whole life. If I had been a different kind of guy, I could have accumulated some reasonable wealth, but I didn't. But by this lifestyle and, not pulling the trigger until I was debt-free and I had reasonable expenses, I'm suddenly wealthy. This is what it feels like to be wealthy. This is what it feels like to have more money than what you need, or more important, more money than you really want. Because if you said, Rob, what do you want for Christmas? Do I want a bigger, better RV? No. Bigger, better truck? No. I could use one more lithium battery, but I think I can take care of that myself. But the longing for accumulation of things so I can feel okay or feel better or be excited about my life, those days ended when it didn't end on December 1st when I left. It ended the day I probably made the decision, this is what I'm going to do. And that was a couple of years ago. And it was like a giant weight lifted off my shoulder that I needed to get rid of stuff as opposed to buying more stuff. And the joy that I've experienced in the past 10 months is certainly more than I deserve. That's for certain. And I'm very, very grateful for it. And I'm especially grateful for people that have been doing this lifestyle for years. People like my friend Deborah Dickinson and Bob, who I don't know personally, but Deborah definitely does. Things are going really well. And if you made it through this whole video, I'm pretty surprised. I think it's probably not all that interesting. But I'm going to sign off now and have some ice cream. Take care.